Hey guys, it's Tony with Historic Barbecue. Tonight on Staying Historic While We Stay at Home, we're smoking up some chicken wings. These are just some, they call them party chicken wings I got at Costco. The Costco ones are normally a little bit smaller. Sometimes at the grocery store they're a little bigger than this, but these are great for cooking for a tailgate or your virtual tailgate when you're on your Zoom meetings with your friends. So we're actually going to cook these two different ways today, try a different little experiment. The trick to cooking wings on the grill is you really want to try to get that skin crispy, so it's like when you cook them in a deep fryer. A lot of times if you don't treat them just right, that skin is a little mushy, and it's a little different experience than a lot of people are used to. So the first step to getting those nice and crispy on the outside is to make sure you dry them off. So I just poured these out of the package. These are, I got about 12 here I think, and just going to dry them off on both sides. I just poured them out onto a paper towel and then dab on the top, and these should be pretty dry after that. I'm going to toss them all into a bowl. And then the second thing we're going to do to make sure that skin gets crispy is we're going to add some baking powder, not baking soda, to the outside. And that's the little experiment I did today. Before this, I've actually always used cornstarch, and that works really well to get the skin crispy, but I'd seen some articles online and some other videos where people were using baking powder, so I actually did one batch with the baking powder and one batch with the cornstarch, and we'll look at those in a little bit, but we're going to go with the baking powder on this third one. So for these 12 wings, I'm going to put about a tablespoon baking powder, just pouring it right in the bowl. I'm going to do a pinch of salt, probably about a teaspoon, maybe a little less. And then historic red. My other batch of wings I did today, I wanted to make them a little spicier, so I used some of my whiskey bent blazing bird, I think is what he calls it. It's pretty good. It's a lot spicier out of the shaker than it is when you taste it, so don't be afraid to use a good amount on there. And then I'm just going to toss these. You can use your hands too. Stick them. But that one tablespoon of baking powder or cornstarch, whichever one you have, goes a long way. So a little more red on there. If you want to do these without any rub, you can. If you want just a plain wing that you're going to sauce later, but I like to do at least some rub on there, and then people can choose if they want sauce or not. I'm surprisingly not a big fan of barbecue wings, so we got a buffalo sauce here we're going to make in just a second. But I don't know. For me, barbecue sauce just isn't the way to go on wings. If you are going to use barbecue sauce, probably Sweet Zing or spicy or whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. So then I'm just going to transfer these over to a cookie or a baking sheet. That just makes them a lot easier to move around on the grill. No really particular order. I've got the Traeger preheated out there at about 350. And these wings are going to take about 30 minutes. If they're bigger wings, it might take closer to 45. But on these smaller ones, 25-30 minutes is all you're going to need. So I put these the entire sheet on the Traeger, just like that. You don't have to flip them. Just put them on there and let them do their thing. And you want to take those all the way up to about 195 or 200 degrees. That sounds pretty high for chicken. But on wings, to get those, everything rendered, to get that skin nice and crispy, you're going to take those all the way up to 195 or 200. Rinse my hand off real quick, and then we'll make some buffalo sauce. It's not having gloves thing, it's really cramping my style, but trying to save those for the people that need them. Get these out of the way. So our buffalo sauce, super simple. This is 6 tablespoons of melted butter, and I've got about 2 or 3 tablespoons of garlic in there. Then we've got half a cup of hot sauce. This is Frank's hot sauce. I like Frank's on wings. Cholula, Tabasco, whatever your favorite is. And then I'm also going to put, this is about 3 or 4 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. So we got a garlic Parmesan sauce here. If you don't want the chunks of garlic in there, you can use garlic powder, but and then just mix it up. It's that simple. Make buffalo sauce. I think I'm gonna make this a little spicy, so I'm gonna put just a dash or two of chipotle. It should give us about a medium. If you want to make it spicier, just add a little more. You can use cayenne if you don't have chipotle. And then, that's it. Other than melting the butter, you don't have to cook this at all. So, like that. Let's take a look at our wings and we can look at the difference between the cornstarch and the baking powder. So we have two sets of wings here. The ones closest to me are the ones that have baking powder and historic red on them, and the ones closer to our lovely camera woman here have the cornstarch and the whiskey bent. I'm kind of Florida themed today. I've got my Swamp Boys barbecue school shirt on. A little history. I took the Rob Bagby's Swamp Boys class in Chicago before my first competition. That greatly accelerated my competition career. I think definitely would have been going in dark if I wouldn't have taken that, so I credit a lot to how I've done in the competition world for taking that class, just to give me a framework if nothing else. So if we want to look at the difference between these two, so these are pretty crispy. These are on there for about 30 minutes. This is the baking powder one, and here's our cornstarch one. This one's also crispy, but not quite as crispy. So if you only thing you have is a baking powder, that's okay, or the cornstarch, that's okay. But I do think the baking powder gives you a little bit crispier skin just based on this. Baking powder is actually the #1 ingredient in there, cornstarch, but it's also got sodium bicarbonate, a few other things, and that changes the pH level in the skin, and that's why we're seeing the difference there. There's some meat science stuff going on there that's making that skin a little bit crispier. But we're going to toss half these in the sauce, and we're going to probably have about the other half dry, and that's all there is to it, to making some smoked wings. So we got our crispy skin, we got our flavor, we got some sauce if you want it, and that's all you need. So tomorrow we're going to be doing brisket chili. Friday we got competition steak. So hopefully everyone's staying historic while they stay at home, and that's all I got for tonight. Stay historic, guys.